Hey, what's up, Portfolio 6 Online? It is Emily Ray, your course director. Just wanted to go over the portfolio websites that you submitted and just give you a little bit of positive, productive feedback on where you can take these to in its next best iteration. So I'm just going to go through one by one and like kind of point out a few things for you to pay attention to. Maybe tweak a little bit for a better representation. So here we're going to take a look at Trenton's site. Twitch Anchor is sort of the, I don't know if that's the identity. So here we've got like this really cool logo. Everything looks great, but like the identity is a little bit kind of in question for me. So I get like, um, you introduce yourself, you create and manage content for esports related entities. I get that from the aesthetic. It looks on point. Question as to why this text gets cut off here and why it doesn't extend the full length. Seems like that might be a better way for you to do that. Is this Twitch Anchor? Is this what this is? Because it's not like that intuitive. So you might want to spell it out just a little bit more, kind of scrolling down. Is that your handle? Is that your gamer name? We see this content coming in from Instagram. It's pulling in from another space. I'm going to go ahead and follow you, give you a good follow there. So got some curiosity about that. Like I like the content coming in. I like, that it's contextualized a little bit. I would like to see it fill out on this page a little bit more. So instead of like a two column grid, can you make it go full screen? I'm going to jump to the About Me. Let's see what happens. So here, a little bit of a hello, but there's not much on this page. Do you need this page? Can this information be shared on this home page? Instead of having people click around to maybe get a little bits of the same info, can you consolidate this in a more impactful way? So here we've got your resume. This is looking good. But what I'm noticing, and I'm like clicking and dragging, this is a picture of words. And a picture of words means that it's not searchable or indexable by Google. So instead of just pasting an image here, why not just have this as text on the actual page? That's going to really increase the search engine optimization of this as well. Under work, so I see a lot of different things. G Fuel photography on another level, and game photography. Wondering the differences between these. I'm going to jump first to G Fuel. So this is loading in, and it looks like maybe you're sponsored by them. So kind of this is some of the content that you do for them. You might want to explain that, for people who aren't gamers to kind of understand the significance of this. I also want to point out that when I click on this, it opens up into a bigger light box. And unless you put the name of the file as a title, then it's going to default to the file name that might not necessarily make sense. So an area that you want to pay attention to. I'm going to go back here to photography. And so here I'm seeing some of your work, kind of clicking along. I'm going to click on one of them. Got a really beautiful aesthetic. So new portrait.jpg, you want to go in and title this work, because otherwise it's going to default to the file name, which, it's not the best thing to do. It's not a best practice. So go in here, it's like dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Also kind of curious that when this like jumps up into a new light box effect, like it's kind of got this sort of like, it kind of looks a little like it's got a pink quality to it, and that doesn't really feel like that matches sort of the cool blue and kind of stark white you have, so you might want to go in and tweak that. On another level, not even sure what that means. It's not like fully understandable, maybe to somebody outside of the gaming world. Kind of taking a look at this, like, are these graphics that you made? Maybe this makes sense more easily in your industry or in that arena, but like my sort of ignorance about it right now, or that I don't have a familiarity with it, is a good point of consideration for you, because not everybody is going to know immediately what this means when they come to your site. So make it easy for people who don't know to get some idea. Last but not least, game photography. It's loading this up. So it looks like maybe these are screen captures from within games. Not quite sure. So like it's cool, and I'm digging what you're doing here, but like this needs to be explained a little bit more. Like, did you design all of this? If you didn't, is this copyrighted material? Question mark, question mark. I don't understand fully what I'm looking at, so I don't really know how to provide more detailed feedback than that. Last but not least, just a simple contact form. So here you can send me an email, give me a couple days to respond, but why should people contact you? Are you for hire? What kind of what kind of services do you provide? Is it these things that you're sharing in your portfolio? Do you want people to contact you to sponsor you, or because you want to be an influencer? Spell that out so that you can really drive the conversation, for the contacts that are being made. I'm just super encouraged by this and what I see. Okay, so here's Twitch Anchor, and that is your Twitch page. That was sort of like a disconnect moment for me because I did not know that I was going to your Twitch when I hit this button. So it was kind of like you took me there and I didn't know that I was going, so it wasn't the best in terms of user experience. Spell that out. Like, why isn't that part of it? Maybe it is down here. I can't see it because your social media icons down here are white on that white background. And in fact, these are just still linking to Wix, so that's going to need to be fixed anyway. A little bit of attention needs to be paid here, but like maybe you have an Instagram icon and a Twitch icon, and that's how I know that I'm going away from this site into your Instagram page, away from this site into your Twitch page. Overall, super, there I go again. I love what you're doing. The aesthetic, everything is on point. Just pay a little bit more attention to the detail, and provide the information that I need to understand, or anybody needs to understand fully, like the full scope of what it is that you're doing here, because it's worth letting people know because it's cool. Next up, we are going to take a look at Rico's site. So, performer, writer, podcaster. We get that like first off to know that about you here. It looks like you've got your social media icons linked. Let's just jump over here to Instagram and give you a follow. Keep tabs on you. Jumping back here. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. I get a little bit of an about message, like you tell me where you're from and sort of what your aspirations are. I like that picture. You look friendly and approachable. Here, your theater, your writing, your podcast. So you do a lot of different things. When I click on one of these, is it gonna take me somewhere else? It is. So here it's taking me to the blog, and that's kind of taking a minute to load in. Is it loading in? Is there content there? Seems like maybe. Sure is taking a long time. Refresh that page. There we go. Okay, there we go. So this looks like a school blog where I'm seeing like all of your projects, which are cool, but like what, maybe the page hasn't fully loaded because I'm not seeing your name. I'm not seeing. Okay, so there's the navigation. It popped in. One thing I want you to notice is that now that we're gone from the home page where it said your name, this doesn't have any identity. Your social media links need to be moved over into this area, and your name needs to be here so I can identify the site from any page that I'm on. So here we get to see your articles, which are great. I'm going to go back to that home page because I didn't feel like we were done scrolling and just kind of like jumped off at the wrong point. Scrolling down here. Getting back to, so here's where I can kind of go view your different projects, and we'll get to that in other spaces. So we got a cool gallery, so here's some of your theater work, which is cool, and I love that you've taken care to put in the title and the description so that I understand what it is that I'm looking at, right? So you've given me the context to understand the content that you're showing me, which is awesome. I don't have to guess. You have a diverse collection of talents and interests, and I like that you invite me in with this information. So get in touch, but why, right? So why should we get in touch? Again, just a call to action. Great places where I can connect with you online. All of that's linked up. Let me just make sure. Yep, everything's hooked up there. It's looking great. On the About page, that's that section. The gallery, dropping me down to what we saw there. Blog, we already saw that that's jumping me off to that other point, which is schoolwork. So again, like, here's the question on this blog, how does it make sense that you're showing schoolwork? Because it seems like everywhere else, it's mostly like your professional stuff. So again, your portfolio is a curated experience. It's not everything you've ever done. It's the things that make sense. It's the types of things that you want to do more of to kind of showcase or advertise, hey guys, this is what I want to do. This is what I can do for you. This is where I see myself going. So be really discerning about that. Last but not least, so here's the contact, and it drops to the page. So for me, there's a disconnect that this is a one-pager, which I really like, but that the blog takes me off of sort of this more professional recounting of your skills and talents somewhere else. I guess these things also do. So if I go to writing, it kind of gives me a little bit about the articles and your skill set there. But now, like, I have to go all the way back here to go to the next things, which is podcast. So it's going to take me to the podcast page, where I can get the podcast. It'd be cool if you could play it from within this page, right? So that I didn't have to go somewhere else. It's hard for me to get to your work. You've made it difficult because I have to keep doing all of these clicks. Instead of saying theater, writing, and podcast, what if you did like a featured, a featured project or a featured, a spotlight on one particular thing in these areas? A portfolio is meant to show your work, but you only get the ability to do that if I take the time to scroll down here and click on one of these things. You're taking a chance. Like, that feels like you're taking a chance that I'm not going to find your work, which I don't think you should take that chance. I think you should make it easier. And maybe the way to do that would be to, instead of say gallery, which just takes me to these pictures, which are cool, maybe this says portfolio, and it's a drop-down menu, and that drop-down menu takes me to each one of these pages. I think that you need to reconsider your navigational structure. And again, I need to encourage you to include the site identity up here in the header. Great stuff. A few tweaks and it's going to make this even stronger. So last but not least, we've got Linda Anderson here. So, the branding is very clear from, the top. We can see that there should be a photography element, a nice photo here. And then we've got, just kind of a simple layout with the navigation. So home, resume. Not quite sure that resume is an intuitive drop-down link from home. So if you consider this a folder and this the contents inside this folder, I'm not sure that intuitively I would think that those go together, but we're going to explore. So we've got this nice image. But I want to point out that, like, in this view, and this, before I start to have to scroll, I don't really get to know that much. I'm inferring from the icon that there's going to be some photography, and also because we've got this nice image. But I would encourage you to spell that out a little bit more. Maybe it's a tagline, maybe it's some text over this image. As I scroll down, I get that about me. This is a nice amount of text, but I'd like for you to think about how can I add some visual elements here? How can I break this text up in a way that will make it more bite-sized chunks, right? Maybe more easily scannable. So I'm going to go here to resume, and so it looks as if it looks like it's a picture of words, meaning it's a screenshot, and this is great content, but it's not searchable content. Google can't recognize the words on this because it's just a collection of pixels. So instead of including this image, just include the text here on this particular page. I'm going to go here to graphic design, and let's see, it seems like this is still loading up, and I'm seeing kind of a collection of work here. And I can click through, and when I click on one, what happens? It opens up in a bigger lightbox effect, and it looks, so the Haunted Ship 2018 poster.jpg. What I want to note is that when you don't put in a title to your work and or a description in Wix, it defaults to the file name. And that's just like not a best practice. This is keyword-rich content. It's also a way to increase the search engine optimization of your site by going in and just adding these details. It's like dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So that's something you want to make sure that you do for all of these, because when I click, let's say on this one, what you're going to see when this loads in is Vinyasa class poster .jpg. And so like, yeah, I'm interested in the name of this, but I'm also interested in like what it is that you've created and why. So this seems like a class flyer, a poster, and then what did you use to create it? This is contextual information that will better help me understand your skill set, the tools you use, and if you would be a good fit for the project I might be looking to hire for. I'm going to scroll and I'm going to check out photography, just kind of see what's going on here. Again, so we've got sort of this click through like a carousel. But here, we're seeing a slightly different application because we've got the title and description down here, and I click on it. You can see that you've taken the care to label those things, and I want to see that on all elements of your portfolio. And then it's going to jump quickly to videography. And so here, I want to see what happens when these load in. So we get to see the video right on this page, which is great. Nothing is auto playing, so that's also great. You want that to be an elective choice. And you've done a nice job of doing the title and the description of the piece and saying what you edited on and that you did it by yourself. So that's something, again, I want all of you guys to be thinking about. If you work in collaborative projects, you need to detail the parts that you did, and if you did all of it, definitely say that too. Last but not least, let's jump over to contact. And so here, just a simple form, ways that we can get in touch. But like, again, why should people contact you? What's the call to action? What's the conversation that you want to have? That you can control that and sort of direct the conversation and the traffic by just simply kind of telling people, encouraging people, how and why they should connect. Overall, you guys, like, these are strong portfolios, but definitely all have some tweaks that need to be made to get them to their next best place. You're really close to the end with graduation, so I encourage you to make these changes fast. So you can really start using this as a tool to help you, help you land the opportunities that you're looking to get in the media communications world. If you guys have any questions about this feedback, please let me know.